Ayo, Shalom, or praise Yahweh, Shem Yahshua, Shem Kadash. That one's the apostle and others, GreatMillStone, and Shalom to the brothers out there doing the work in sincerity and truth. Just gonna be going into more or less how, you know, these nations have, well, basically Esau's realm, this current realm we're in, is basically the Israelite man's kryptonite, man. It's, you know, it's a place that's basically built to keep us in a low state, to keep us broken down, and basically to keep us as far away as they can from the knowledge of the truth, man. And that's more or less how this place has been set up, and that's something that these different nations have been scheming on from the beginning, man. For a very long time, they've basically been trying, like, that their one of their chief goals has been to, you know, keep Jake in that low state, man, so they can rule over them, man. Because because basically they're upset, man. They're upset that Jake basically fucking. Hey, Jake's above them, man. Jake's beyond them. They're upset. Read this, Judith 5, and let me do it. So I'll start from verse 11 and read down. It says, "Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with labouring in brick, and made them slaves. Then they cried unto their power, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And the Most High dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai and Kadesh Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esbon, and passing over Jordan, and possessed all the hill country. And they were cast forth before them, the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, the Sichemite, and all the Girgasites, and they dwelt in the country many days." So basically, this is like Achior, the captain of the Ammonites, man, and he knows the history of Israel. So that means that these nations, they basically they sat down, they did their research, and they schemed on Jake. And basically, it's like, okay, it's like, tell me your strengths, tell me your weaknesses, tell me, okay, what kind of place do I want to, what kind of a battle do I want to involve them in? How would I go about taking them out? It's like what Esau does with CIAs and MI6s and MI5s. He basically does research into how to systematically destroy people. Or psychologists, man, psychology. That's what Esau does. He's basically looking how to mess with people's minds, how to control them, man. That's Esau gets into these things, man. It says that he's wiser than Daniel. It says, verse 17, "And whilst they sinned not before their power, they prospered, because the Most High that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore." It said, "They were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their power was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies." So these men knew exactly how to take Jake down. And that was pretty much a chief part of the scheme. Because it wasn't like, oh, well, you know, bruv, the thing is, it wasn't no ignorant, stupid shit. These men were basic. They were putting, they were dedicated, man. You know, look at, we're getting it in. It says, verse 19, "But now they are returned to their power, and have come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them." So it's just like, the thing is this information is known by Esau. Just like how, that fucking Christophe Colomb knew how to get to the Americas, basically using the scriptures. Esau knows how to keep Jake, that broken state, using the scriptures, man. Because just like the thing is, you go through Judges, then you'll get that breakdown. And the thing is these nations all around, when Israel came out of Egypt, these nations had the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahshai on them. Because they knew, yo, the power of them Israelites. He just smashed the Egyptians, who was basically who was the top dons on the earth. So then they would have seen these men got into the land, they were smashing men in the land. Then all of a sudden they just start getting overtaken. All kinds of different nations start grabbing them up into captivity, man. So then they would have been like, okay, well, how's this? But when we fought against them, there wasn't even a chance of it. These guys sat down, they did their research, man. And the thing is, you got a bunch of ignorant niggas around nowadays that don't even want to deal with any kind of wisdom or information, man. So the thing is this is a thing where you like more or less you come on, man. You got, bruv, it's that ignorance is not in any way, it ain't gonna do shit for you, man. This is a thing about being getting into wisdom, man, getting into truth, getting into Wagwan and the Bible, man. And that's what these nations have done. And that's why that's why Jake's in this broken state. That's why you got pork all up in the pork, like the pork section in the supermarket. You're gonna have 3 shelves, and then like a third of a shelf for lamb, and maybe 1 shelf for fucking beef, because Esau basically, and the thing is like Esau basically pushes demonic vibrations on Jake in that low state, man. And even when they start to rise out of it, he basically has them feeding into his system and becoming Greeks. Basically becoming atheists and believing in what the so-called white, Big Bang. Esau saying he witnessed the dawn of the universe 4.6 billion years ago. What the fuck is that? That is BS. And it says, verse 21. But if there be... Oh, no. Verse 19. But now are they returned to their power, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be an error in this people, and they sin against their power, let us consider this shall ruin them, and let us go up and we shall overcome them. But if there shall be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a reproach for all the world. So, these nations know basically, if they, if Jake gets into that, basically gets down with them laws, gets into order, basically gets down with their power, there's no hope for them. That's why they have to keep Jake in that broken state, because otherwise, bro, these guys, what happened when King David was getting raised up? These guys are getting smashed up, bro. That's what they don't want to repeat of that. They know their histories. Oh, this Revelation 11:8, and a dead body shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. And that's where we're in right now, man. That Babylon the Great, which is America, and even England, like where I'm at, is that's also an extension. That's basically the mother of Babylon, man. It's pushing all them same demonic spirits, that homosexuality, that white supremacy, that basically women's live, all these off vibrations, transgenderism, sex robots. This is basically, that's just like, that's how off this place is. And the thing is though these same acts, vile acts Esau's doing, that's why ancient kingdoms got destroyed, man. In Egypt, man was into popping their mama, man. Popping your mum was the in thing, man. Slamming your mummy in, man. What the hell is wrong with these guys, bro? But some niggas, some Jakes, love some Egypt, man. It says verse 9, and they, still in verse 8. So where also our Lord was crucified. So where was Yahushua's image? That got smashed down basically in America, man. That was one of the biggest places where that was done, man. And it started off over in Egypt. Well, it's like one of the main places where it's getting pushed is that America. That's why he had it was reported in the news all over the show when that fucking white Edomite preacher dropped dead. I'm like, bro, the Guardian. I'm like, you got like UK news. I'm like, I don't even know who the fuck that guy was, but you got UK newspapers reporting on it. What the fuck is that shit? Says, and they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies. Basically, see Jake in that broken state. 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies being put in graves. And then what's his name? Killmonger mentioned that in fucking Black Panther, man, saying what? You know, it's 2 million people that look like us that didn't do nothing. That's because they're a bunch of Hamites, man. Bunch of fucking Hamites. About some look like us. And what? It says, shall not suffer their dead bodies put in graves. Basically, not saving them from that. From that fucking low state. And it says what? And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry and shall send gifts to one another. And that's basically like these nations rejoiced to see Jake being brought low, man. That's why, bro. No one came there and was like, no, this is wrong. Stop, man. Grab the whip. But the thing is, Esau uses Hollywood, who now will have like. Thing is, you have some of them raw, ultra mega raw. Well, the main one I'm thinking of is Goodbye Uncle Tom. But it's like with the modern ones, they'll have, you know, that one good white guy, like even the one good white guy, like even Django had that, the German geezer. 12 Years a Slave, you had Brad Pitt up in there, just like, yeah, no, this is a grave disservice, and I can see a great reprisal coming up in the nerf, bro. That you know that righteous Edomite, like the last Mohican or some shit, bro. It's BS, man. Some good white guy, bro. They ain't no good Edomites, man. They're all off. Says and they that dwell upon it shall rejoice. Says because these two prophets tormented them to what on the earth, and that's it. Because like when Jake's in that righteous state, hey bro, they're putting a smack down on these heathens, man. It says, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. So that's basically, it's like, now we've got that word. I'm coming out with speaking boldly. These nations are just, they're not able to even eat what's going down, man. That's beautiful. That's showing you that now, that spirit's, from when that spirit's been put on us, we're basically going to get that, like when we get raised up, we're going to get that esteem back that we used to have in the ancient times, man, where you know, the heathen knew that Jake was on levels, man. And, you know, because we'll be in order, we'll be dealing with righteousness, when we're under, like, you know, in order under Yahushai, under Yahweh Hashem Yahushai as well. That means basically, you know, it's all going to be good, man. It's going to be dealt with in order, man. But yeah, I'll leave it there, man. So, you know, fuck these heathens. They're gonna get what's coming for them real soon, man. Yeah, Hashem Yahshua, Shalom.